How's it going, guys? We're back. I had to get some batteries, put them in here. I couldn't do any kind of video. TV wasn't plugged. All right, here we go. Yeah, see? There's motion. All right. There's motion. We are live. I'm at home and we are live. Chilling. We are chilling. And we're going to go over some things tonight. Some more Actiongirls stuff. Of course there's going to be new content. Of course there's going to be new Actiongirls. Let's not have any anxiety about that one. And of course there's going to be progression. Huge, enormous stimulus checks, Bernie Sanders. Look at this. Okay. And here we are. We're getting some interesting... Scotty doesn't know. We're getting some interesting recommendations here, folks. Okay. So, you go to YouTube. This is just one particular place you can go, and you can search Scotty JX. Now, I go here because, I re-edited a lot of these things for YouTube, and they are safe for this kind of platform because you'd have to be like, I'm as safe as possible. So anyway, we're going to go look at Prisoner of Hell. Now, where does that begin? Well, of course it begins. You got Sylvia here. We can start it there, but I'm going to jump ahead because I just want to talk about, I'm going to play two videos in the background. And as we talk about influence, or we talk about not so much influence, but they call it influencer nowadays, but I want to talk about when sometimes you're, as an artist, let's just turn this down. Sometimes you're in a place where you're trying to experience things. You're looking around at what has been created before, and I'm trying to recreate a video at this moment that earlier got deleted because I deleted it because I was doing a live session in my car talking about the Prisoner of Hell, and it was pausing. See here, when you're talking and there's no one around, in a sense you could say you're talking to yourself, but we're at 1 o'clock Saturday night. 1 o'clock Saturday night. I would think most people are probably coming home from the bar. They've already went to bed. I would guess most of you that are out there online right now are probably Europeans. They're just waking up. You look at my clock up there, it says 1 o'clock. You're probably at 10 in the morning right now, depending on where you're at. We're at 1 o'clock at night. So American traffic is probably not going to be steady. Not too many people awake. And most people might be thinking, what's Scotty doing? What is he talking about? I was talking about earlier today when I was driving around. I just had some thoughts, and sometimes I go live because I want it to be recorded. I want you guys to get some of that information, and I know some of you want it. And it's as you go through things, as you question things, as you get questions from people about things that you've probably answered before, that you've said before. It's not like you're always going to get the same answer. You're going to get a different answer because your point of view is always changing as time goes on. Your point of view is going to change. My point of view changes, like my memory too, of remembering the steps leading up to, let's say, even registering the domain, to booking this, to doing all that. But one of the interesting things I want to talk about at the time of this particular movie here that we're looking at, called Scotty JX's Actiongirls Prisoner of Hell series, which was very popular, was the storyline content that strung together all the other scenes and all the other girls that didn't have intros, that didn't have character development as much. This story glued it together and gave it reality, gave it a real feeling of a universe and a world. And it was developed in a strange way. It wasn't developed as a comic. It wasn't developed... it was done online. Because at the time, going back to 2000, 1999, 2001, it was an explosive era where the internet was skyrocketing. There was a lot of investment in it, new ideas, a lot of people getting rich. And of course, adult content was pretty much all there was on the internet. There was no ABC, CBS, NBC. There was no CNN. There was nothing. They had the news media. They had the cable TV, and video was almost not even thought of to try to get video across. Video wasn't even thought of at that time to do it on the internet, because people had hard enough just trying to download an image. Take you like back in 201, if you're downloading a picture, it would take you like a couple of minutes for the picture to load. So this particular image, when I was shooting this, at that time, the best camera you could get a hold of was a mini DV camera. And it was the birth of digital, which basically meant lossless if you made copies. Meaning it didn't decrease in quality if you made it. If you had your master tapes and you duped them, you could edit, and you could edit digitally. I mean, I edited this particular scene here. I edited that in Adobe Premiere at the time on a PC. I wasn't using Mac at the time. Digital editing things digitally was new. There were no smartphones in 2001. There was a phone, just send texts. People were texting though, a lot. That was new. But mini DV was the format, and it was a tape format. It was an upgrade to VHS. It was an upgrade to High 8. I wasn't really sure that it was going to, how it was going to come across as far as professional, because the moment that it came out, the format in itself, the adult had jumped all over it. And I think in a short amount of time, that most people would have thought things shot on that format, mini DV format, was low budget. But reality TV sure changed that, and reality shows were shot in mini DV, and it started to become even a standard when we were still on 4:3, when we were still on curved TVs, and when we were still on even flat screens that were big. So I'm doing this at that time, and we're all experimenting. It's a great time, because it's a great time of experiment. Even now, we have different experiments today. But back then, we were experimenting with mini DV. This is before HD, before widescreen became the widescreen was, for movie geeks. People would, hello, create a photo there. This is my movie. This is Scotty JX's Actiongirls Prisoner of Hell series. And I'm playing this in the background because I was talking earlier about it. I had posted a video from this when Sylvia's getting, when SJXAGSS, the character, is being chased by a tank. I think someone on another social network had asked me why I called it Prisoner of Hell. And I was thinking about that question, and I was thinking deeply, and I was thinking of what it meant to me now, because my point of view changes. Not completely, but I think if anything, it gets more in depth. At the time when I was watching this, I was burnt out. Yeah. I was burnt out from mainstream movie at that time because, I don't know, I've been watching it my whole life. I was a fanatic, and I wanted to watch, I started getting into subtitle movies. I started getting into dub movies. I started to watch foreign movies. And at the time, I think I was watching Argento. There was still a Virgin Megastore here in Hollywood. Great store, great bookstore. I used to go there a lot, and I was wondering, why is this guy Argento? I remember Argento there. Dario Argento, the Italian. His daughter, Asia, of course, actress. But I didn't know that at the time. I was like, why? This guy's got like category. This guy, he must be a good director. There's a category for him here at the store. So I bought a few of his movies, and they were different. You'd watch these foreign films, and things would happen in them that you wouldn't see in mainstream movies. Or they pushed it a little further. It was an experiment. And I was doing an experiment here. I have, at the moment in time, internet was not frowned upon, but it was experimental. Some people didn't get on it right away. Most of the networks didn't jump on it until much later than this, when I was shooting this kind of stuff. And people thought, well, we don't know. I was building it in a way. I mean, this is before YouTube. We're watching this on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, but this was shot before YouTube. There was a YouTube, before there was a Facebook, when Classmates was just starting even. Which was what was the seeding behind Facebook, which was, But yeah, we were experimenting at the time. And so my experiment was, well, first of all, I was making money. Adult was a place to make a lot of money on the internet and being independent. And if you could use that to fund your dream, which was for me to direct, then that would be a dream come true. And I was making that happen by the time I got to this. I had already had years of doing websites in the adult, and I knew Sylvia. I had worked with her for other things that I was doing. And I says, she had retired, and I says to her, I had been thinking about this, and I says, would you like to shoot? And we always enjoyed working together because it would always be different. So when I was shooting this, part of The Prisoner, go back to the question, The Prisoner of Hell, Actiongirls, The Prisoner of Hell is the name of the movie. Scotty JX's Actiongirls, Prisoner of Hell, the movie, with SJXAGSS. Prison. I was watching a lot of prison movies at that time. Back in 2001, I was researching. I had watched as a kid. I think I went to a drive-in theater, and there was a double feature. I think we had watched Jaws, or it was one of those movies. And then after one of the movies, I don't know at the time, the double feature was Caged Heat. My parents left because it was a later show starting at 11, and I think it was more adult. I was always curious, And then I remember VHS starting up, going into moms and pop stores and seeing those prison seemed to be back then it was a niche. And then looking into prison movies that were shot in foreign countries, and then looking at Amoeba Records, finding a whole category for it, because Amoeba, you know, one of the great things about Amoeba is it actually creates, when you go and look through their stuff, they have a tab for that. They have the tab for the strangest things and all the different niches. And so that's what I was researching at that time. I think I was looking at the Ilsa movies, the She-Wolf of the SS. I was looking at, I don't know, just all kinds of things. I collected books as well. I still have the books here. Film noir. And I think I had a Fulci book that I later got rid of because it was just full of like really graphic things that I felt like someone said a parent of my ex-wife, her mother had said, this stuff is, she thought it was like cursing me or something. But anyway, so at the time, this was an experimental time, and Sylvia's acting, pursuing acting, and we were having a lot of fun. And the people that we were shooting here with at the tank base, really enjoyed me being there. And they loved Sylvia. And so driving around, chasing her around was just a blast for them. And so I could come up with a story that looked, doing what I like to do is, make action movies at that time, adventure, kind of like an Indiana Jones female. And in the oddest way, doing it on the internet, doing it with a girl that was known for other things, working in the adult business. And, we're friends already, so it was a great time. But going back to the question, that's why you get the name there. Plus, she's chased the whole time, so it's not like she's... Let's go back now. She's chased throughout this movie. Goes through hell, Thank you. Looking at the chat now. Thank you. So at the time of shooting this, as you can see, the black is on the left and the right. This is Mini DV. And Mini DV was a 4:3 format. Back then we had TVs. People weren't using widescreen TVs in 2001. I mean, it was only like movie folks, people that bought DVDs and bought the widescreen versions, which was not the bigger market. The big market was full screen at that time. So TVs were square. And so you wouldn't see that black in the left and right. That would be the actual size of the TV. And then, later as HD came on and stuff like that, then you look at this and you go, oh, well, there's a lot of stuff, though. You watch old TV series and you won't be able to find the widescreen version of it. It was never edited. It was never edited in widescreen. They'd have to go back and find the master shots and re-edit it. In this case, you'd have to zoom in on it. But the exposure on this particular Canon camera I was using was exceptional. Most of the imagery here, I didn't even have lights. I used a reflector. I had a lot of reflectors. I had people to hold the reflectors. I had stands to clip them on, but most of this is shot because the exposure on the camera was wonderful. The color that it captured, the skies were absolutely perfect. As well, the skies in the Czech Republic are just wonderful. Absolutely poofy clouds, beautiful. You don't get that a lot of times in LA. We get a lot of sun here. Of course, you have the smog, but I live away from LA, so I see the blue skies, but you don't see clouds unless it's raining. Whereas in Czech Republic, you'll see clouds, beautiful puffy clouds, which fill up that, you can't, every painter, I mean, it's just one of the wonderful things about shooting outdoors. And outdoors is very attractive for photo shoots, for movies, is because, how many people are stuck inside? People are living in cold weather, watching a nice movie at the beach or watching somebody outside or looking, and most of the time you're watching a movie, you're inside. So, of course, you're going to want to see what you didn't see. You might have had to spend your whole day working inside somewhere, and you wanted to go outside, but you didn't get a chance to, so at least you can watch a movie where it's outside. All right, guys. So, we can go into this over and over, and we can you can just ask your questions, and we can dive deep into this, because there's many, many things to talk about here. There's many, many things going on. This is a time capsule of wonderful times that we went through in the last 20 years. And we start here, and we repeat starting here, because this is the start of it for my work. This is the start of it, and a lot of people would say, well, why aren't you talking about other action girls? What about the other action girls? What about the American action girls? What about this girl, this girl, this girl, this girl? I agree, but I want all the action girls to know. Many of the girls that I shot, I only did photography on, and we didn't do as much story. Because, once you dive into making a movie, you can't be switching your lead actress every week. Not always, depending on how fast you crank them. Some of these sequences, like with Sylvia here, in the Prisoner of Hell series, which includes the prison, if I put them all in one title, I'd say Action Girls the Prison, you got Action Girls the Sniper, and then you have her intro. She's the main star of that, Prisoner of Hell. Of course, you got Emily, Action Girls Emily, you've got Action Girls Veronica, and other girls. But, and also for doing a TV series, when I do a remake, or we do for whatever streaming platform, if another actress plays SJXAGSS, this is the template. This is our story template, depending on the market it's for, And it's a wonderful story. It's a wonderful universe. It's, a lot of people judged it being and said, well, it's depressing. It was surprising to them, but it's not really depressing at all. It's just, it's a story. And, when you're shooting, for example, in the Czech Republic, you don't know what the weather's going to be. Any day, you could plan for sun, and you can get rain for a week. So you can't stop shooting because you got to go back home. You can't just take a week off. So I would just make the best of it. Okay, it's raining, so rain immediately creates another mood. You got gray skies. Your mood changes. You're going to use different kind of music. You make a different kind of video. You change your direction. That's what I did. And probably skip this scene right now. It's an intense scene. This prison. So let's go back to her intro. This is one of the first days shooting her. I was, this is one of the first days shooting the mini DV. I shot 16 millimeter that day. In fact, I don't think I cut any of the 16 millimeter into this cut because I believe it has nipples. So I can't show it on social media. But, you have to think about the time of shooting that, too. You have to think about doing it underground. It was like the uncut version, Horror does the same thing. They come out with a director's cut. Here's some extra footage to get you to buy the movie again. Here's some extra footage. More horror or more. Here's the uncut version. And that's what I was doing. You're creating an uncut version. And it just so happens that these nipples in it, And I didn't think that, at the time I was a little bit like, well, let's see, Stallone's running around in his shirt off. Arnold's running around with his shirt off. Van Damme is running around with his shirt off. Well, I don't know, but you think she could do it? Of course, in a way, protecting that as being the Holy Grail. Of course, it's good because that's why it makes money too. Being hush-hush over it or treating it as if it's like shocking or however you want to treat it. Of course, we're men and they're women and we think differently, I guess. But I'm not going to go into that whole talking. So basically, all the stuff that you've seen in this sequence here is on that mini DV camera. Now, I can't remember the exact name of it, but what a wonderful camera. For collectors of people that like antiques or retro stuff, there are certain things you want to keep, you want to have in your collection if you have space, or you have, if you have a garage, or you have somewhere you can put it. I would think you'd want to have that camera that this was shot on, because not particularly the camera that shot this movie, but the Canon mini DV camera in general, which I can't remember the exact, if it's the FX1 or what it is. I want to say it's the FX1, but I'm not sure. I'd have to Google it because I forgot. But I would say that camera is just an unbelievable part of history in the last 20 years. For guys that are not, I was born in 73, so I'm part of Generation X. And of course, they say there's now Generation Z and then Generation Alpha or something. Based on times you were born in. There's been some wonderful things. Unbelievable things in the last 20 years that have happened that have changed the entire everything. That we take for granted, that we don't really take for granted, but, just people's perspective is that they grew up with it since birth. So, they don't know the world without it. That's the interesting thing about all of us growing up in different times is that, some people didn't grow up and, if you were really old, you didn't have TV until you were a certain age, or you didn't have internet to a certain age, And then there's people that had it all, and they're, or whatever. But anyway, my point is that this camera that I shot this with was an amazing piece of technology. I mean, it affected everything because it was pretty damn good. It looked like a movie. I mean, the exposure is incredible. It's just an unbelievable big breakthrough compared to like what was before, which was high 8, Super VHS, VHS. If you try to copy a VHS tape, you're going to lose quality. I mean, we do it. If anybody who can think or even remember that, depending on, if you grew up during the VHS era, you make a copy or 3 or 4 movies on a disc or on a tape, it's going to be losing. It's not going to look anything like the original. Whereas mini DV, digital, when digital came out, it was like, whoa, you can make copies and it doesn't lose quality. You can copy it to computer, all that stuff. Now we go, well, what's that? We got phones that do great stuff. But so I would just say that it's been a wonderful 2 decades you go back to 2001 when I was first starting this. It's been 20 years now with Actiongirls, since the first shooting. The website didn't launch till 2003, but the shooting, the capturing, the movie producing for the Actiongirls started in 2001 on the side, because I was doing other stuff that was making me money at the time. And it was huge hit for me, amongst many other hits I had before. And it's wonderful to have it become a classic at this point. That is just, thank you. To have it become a classic, people might say, well, you're talking about, thank you, Frank. You think, people would be like, an agent of Sylvia's is like saying, that's 20 years ago. Yeah, it's a classic. Actiongirls is started 20 years ago. And it's going further. We could play the newer videos right now. We could play all kinds of stuff. But we're going back to this because I find that, when my idea is, first of all, I want to see the statue of Sylvia. I want to see, just like you see on Sideshow Collectibles. I've already seen her head on many Actiongirls heads on multiple statues. Because the artist can't help it. He's got to, and those girls, the boss, the people that are commissioning, they don't know. They're commissioned to do Superman. They're commissioned to do Wonder Woman. They don't, whose face are they using, Obviously, it's some model that they like on Instagram nowadays. But back then, it was Actiongirls. And so you'll see Sylvia, her head, for example, yes, definitely. Why not? There should be a statue for all of them. But, we have to focus. We have to focus on one at a time, of course. Hold on. Let me jump to this video again with the tank. I'm just going to keep this going here. Yes, there'll be an Actiongirls Wendy statue. Why not? Her character development, I have to add on to her story. There's just a lot of work to do. But, I'm starting with Sylvia. I want Sylvia. That's why we're looking at Sylvia now, because, we want Wendy, we want Denise, we want Veronica. But I would say we have to go in order. And then, of course, we got Scarlett Johansson. We've got the mainstream actresses that will want in on this. It's going to be fun. Because for me, I had quickly, when I first started, gotten sort of to the top of this underground world where, I found Veronica Zemanova within maybe a couple of years, and I got her. And pretty much I got everyone, that I want. I've shot 2,000-3,000 girls, over the last 20 years. And I pretty much got, everyone. So to go into the mainstream and do the same is going to be exciting. And I started with an agent. I had an agent in the very beginning before I even did Actiongirls. I had an agent. I believe, and I keep saying it's Jodi Pakoff, but it's like 90%. If you have an IMDb Pro, you can search her there, or go to IMDb. You can search Jodi Pakoff. I remember because my roommates, she had gotten me an apartment. She was my agent at the time. And all of my roommates were working on the movie Mallrats. She says, I needed to get an apartment. I wanted to live in Hollywood. And she says, I got a guy that needs a roommate. I believe his name was Greg. And, I ended up getting a job later in doing 3D graphics for a video game company that owned Blizzard. They were just working on Warcraft at that time. This is a long time ago, probably 96, 95, somewhere in there. But anyway, my agent of that time, now, it's amazing what she's done. And now she's got like 1,000 clients, which David Harbour was just in the last Black Widow movie. is listed as her client. So, that's great. I haven't officially, Jody, I'll probably call her soon and see if she remembers me. I know she does. I saw a photo of her online. It says, oh yeah, that's her. I remember Jody, but I forgot her last name at that time for a little bit because I lost the paperwork. But anyway, when I was doing all these shoots, there's so many stories to tell in Prague, but I'll say it really fast right now. There are several action girls in the movie Triple X with Vin Diesel. In 2001, when I was shooting my first year in Prague, it was like the last day before I was leaving back to America, and my production manager says, would you like to meet Rammstein? They're in this movie I'm working on. I didn't know it was Triple X, but I couldn't go meet Rammstein. I got to get on a plane the next day. Of course I want to meet Rammstein. And it was that scene, the beginning of that movie. It was interesting, that movie. I didn't even know the title till the following year. But, bald-headed guy, shoots underground videos, stunts or whatever. Kind of, relates to sort of who I am. I had no hair. I'm over there shooting underground stuff with stunts, right? It's not exactly, but, it's kind of coincidental. It's interesting. It's fun. It's great. I love it. And I love to feel that connection, the bald-headed connection there. But yeah, they were shooting that. And then the following year, I went out there in 2002. Van Helsing was there. And when I went in to go get my guns, I think it was this year when I was shooting this particular content, was over in the Prague. And they said, you want to use the crossbow? It was right there, the crossbow that Hugh Jackman had. And I was like, I don't want to take it. I says, why? He says, they don't mind. I says, what if I fuck it? Oh, I said, what if we fuck it up? What if we drop it? What if we hurt it? I don't want to be like in trouble. It looked great, And plus, I don't know. I wanted to come up with my own universe with my own stuff. So, but yeah, it was cool. And then they said, do you want to meet Hugh Jackman? And at that time, I didn't know who he was. I should have went. If somebody would have just said, the guy that played Wolverine, I'd say, oh, okay. Because I had seen X-Men. But at the time, I didn't know who he was. But every year there was a movie. The following year after that was Shanghai Nights, Alien vs. Predator, The Omen. The list goes on. G.I. Joe. All those years I'm there shooting. They're there. Right along the side. Same locations. This particular location right here is in a movie, Heart's War. Bruce Willis, these tanks. Anyway, well, thank you all for coming and watching this. And if you have any questions, put it in the comments. It's probably as I go forward doing these videos, it's probably good to pick a topic and stay on topic. Right now it's kind of, I'm jumping topics, and so once again, this is Actiongirls Prisoner of Hell, the series, the original series that launched the franchise with SJX AGSS, which we hope to get a statue of soon. Miniature statue. It's going to look great. I could see multiple versions. I think the first statue should probably be with this clothing. And then once you have established the original, then you can go on and show the other ones, that are going to be more fancier. And they may even sell better. But it's good to have the classic version, because this is a classic now. We got 20 years behind us with this, amazing stuff. Let's just amazing to be with you guys. And I started young. I think, in my opinion, look, I had a deal. I'll be honest. I had an OEM so fast. I talked to a guy in China, and he was right away. He says, send me the head data, send me the body data. And then he sent me the website to go hire a guy to do it. In other words, to get her face data in there so they can print it right away. And I put it off a little bit. I went around and I collected it myself without having to pay. And I got maybe 10 Actiongirls right now in CG, the data. And then I was wondering, well, do I want to go through a distributor? Because I'll need help. I'm not going to sell them all myself. I could sell them all myself. The OEM, the guy that has the factory, is willing to produce them at no charge for me. He knows that the girls are huge and famous, that there's tons of people that know this work. And for him, that's great. He just wants to split the costs. I don't know. We didn't talk exactly about my cut, his cut, but he'll front me it all. He'll front me all the merchandise. So, in other words, I can go to town and get stuff. But his deal, he makes full size. He makes full size dolls with silicone that are soft. He's not really doing statues. So he's doing more like Fison. He can do, his miniatures look like a Fison, which is more like sort of a soft upgraded Barbies, where it's like, it's really cool because they bend and you can take off the heads, but it's not like looking at a Sideshow Collectibles version, for example, and seeing a highly detailed statue, which just so happens to be about a mile from my house. Sideshow's headquarters here is right here. And, I have friends that are attorneys. I could go in there and we can make a deal. But I think I'll probably go ahead and just produce the first one, starting with Sylvia, on my own, as a mock-up, if anything. And we could just probably get that going right away. I was trying to get a hold of Sylvia. How tall? We're looking at, I don't know the exact measurements, but, I wanted to do miniatures. He's willing to send them to me full size. Full size right away. So I told him, nah, I don't want full size. I want to start with a miniature, which would be like what they're doing. I don't know, those Sideshow ones. I haven't seen them in real life. We were in the pandemic the whole time. So I'm guessing like looking at the videos of ones that I've seen. Like the first one that got me going really was and you got to look at it. Go search Masters of the Universe Evil Lynn. Okay? And you're going to see Sylvia. Straight up. The head is Sylvia. I mean, it's a little slightly different, but it's like, I did a vote here on Instagram about a year ago, and 90% of everyone said it was her, So, and I kept a screen capture of that just to tell them. I mean, you can't blame the artist for putting her there. It's flattering in a lot of ways, It's great. It mainstreams a lot of these girls right away. It brings more attention to what I'm doing. So what we're talking about is probably, I'm guessing, as far as how tall, we're talking about, Masters of the Universe Evil Lynn. You search Masters of the Universe Evil Lynn, Lynn, statue. Look at the head. Now, it's Sylvia's head. It's 90%. It could be like somebody had, like, maybe it's 10% Mila Jovovich in there. Maybe it's 10% different, But all I'm saying is it worked. It sold out. I forgot what they charged. It's sold out within instantly at $500 a unit, $500 a unit. It looks great. I don't know if it was $500 a unit, but it's not cheap, it's not $10. So it's sold out right away. So anyway, I think the Sylvia one's going to do just fine. And there could be multiples. And it's also great to look at it. We can video it. see people, putting it on their mantle, talking about it. It's going to make more. Yeah, it's going to make more promotion for SJXAGSS Sylvia. It's gonna, that's what these things do. When people do unboxings, when they're doing, they're talking about it. And they're tangibles. We've been dealing with digital a long time, We haven't had our Action Girls tangible. We have had, we got Wonder Woman galore. We got Scarlet, the Black Widow. All the mainstream movies you got. We don't have our action. Of course we want that. Guys want that. Who wouldn't? Of course it comes down to price. How much you're willing to give up for it and what other things you need to buy. Food. If it comes down to food versus that, then you're probably going to go with food, right? But what I'm saying is, let's see. I was 2010 in the USA, my best friend with you, Scotty, as I started making photo sets and movies with Amazon Kit. Girls fighting many people here in Germany ruined my ideas. I wish I was 2010. Making movies with Amazon girls fighting many people here in Germany ruined my ideas. How did they ruin your ideas? Createx. I know what you mean. Like when you have an idea and it's a new idea, and then you have people like, of course, people are going to be negative. A lot of people, they don't see it until it's done. They're seeing it when it's seen. Just like when we have the statue. Boom. There it is. We already can see it in our heads. We already know it's going to happen. We already know it's not like super hard to imagine. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there she is right there. You see her head on this other statue. I see so many action girls on Marvel heads. I saw, Domino from Deadpool, and it's like some action girl that I've shot. Emily. And even Emily doesn't think it's her, but it's her. It's 100% her. I see Emily in the Resident Evil remake, the head. So, I don't know, it's great. It's wonderful. It's wonderful what we've done together. Like, it's just, if you're a sculptor and you sculpt and you're working in that industry where you got to sculpt those statues and you doing characters, because these guys go by characters, right? They go by, we need, whatever, Lady Death, we need some character that's been drawn that no actress has played, that people don't identify it with an actor. Like when you watch Indiana Jones, of course you can identify it with Harrison Ford, right? Yeah, it totally looks like her. Look at it. And they sold out. Because that's just fact. I know, because I've shot 3,000 girls. I know which girls sell. And I know I know that all before I'm making a toy, a statue. You know what I'm saying? So it's not going to fail. So it's great that happened. It's unavoidable. Artists can't help it because you're going to do Supergirl, right? Who is the face going to be? It has to have a human being there. It's not just a T-shirt and a cape. Yeah, to them it is, and it can be replaced. But, as an audience, we can't help. If we're going to have emotions, we're going to have some feeling for the person that's playing the character, right? So the face is going to end up in there. And so when you don't have a face, then you're going to go by, and you're an artist, you go in with your heart, and if you're a single guy, you're looking at girls, and, you're not going to necessarily put your girlfriend always on the head. Okay, let me read this. What you right here? Well, girls showing a bit more skin, close like in their works in Germany, and the laws of showing nudity are bloody. I had from 2000. Oh, I see. What are the laws? I know what you're saying, like physical product. I'm not talking, that's why I want to that's why I'm going mainstream with this. That's why, let's start there. We can always take things off. Fisons take off clothes. Of course, we know as artists that every drawing starts off that way. Even 3D artists, all the movies, if you got Scarlett Johansson in 3D and you're doing a Avengers scene and that's a PG movie, the artist starts off with a naked version, and he puts clothes on her. A lot of times things are sculpted that way. They're especially done like using Dad's 3D. All the models start off without clothes. It's just part of the way it is. It's just anatomy, the same thing goes. You take an art class, there's going to be girls coming in that way, but it's different in each country. It's surprising in Germany that would be a problem. I didn't put a lot of blood in the Actiongirls. I have done bloody things. I have done other projects I did that were horror. I wish I spent time with a fraction of that many girls. Let's get something on the screen. People are going to get... we have this, of course, but this is music. This is the soundtrack here on this video. Because the soundtrack I haven't sold either. I've got 17 hours of original music that was produced over that was created. The theme, Sylvia has a theme, her own theme song. Veronica has her own theme song. The Actiongirls, this is a lot of effort, That's why it's memorable. Let's just go to this one. Play this for a little bit. Okay, so let's focus. Let's talk statue for a little bit. Probably should do a statue, Actiongirls statue, SGX, AGSS statue. We should probably... And all of them, we should probably do a statue specific live thing. Yeah. See, once you do the original, then you can work from there with multitudes of variations. And you're not just doing it, literally, you're not just doing it just to create product, like, oh, here's another one that looks identical. It's got a little bit extra. No, I'm talking about having a totally different outfit. Like, that's why I kept showing on my Instagram Sylvia in that original outfit, because that's most of the story took place in that. Now, the reason why she's wearing that, now, most guys are going to say, why is she wearing these pants? That's not sexy. Motorcycle pants that are bulky. And a lot of girls wear them, because when I was shooting in these locations, there's broken glass on the ground. You don't know. We're not shooting in a studio where, like you shoot in a soundstage, everything's fake dust, fake everything, everything's allergy free. And whereas when we're shooting in these places, it's just like we show up there, she starts walking, I can tell by looking at the ground whether or not I need to move a pipe or what's going to happen. Like, there's some glass there, it just happened to be there. You need those long pants were good in the beginning. Now, of course, Susanna's not wearing them here. But this is already the third year of being there. And, whereas the other one, she's getting chased by a tank, she falls. And then you have a stunt double for some of that stuff with Sylvia. So when the girl fell down on this pavement or in the mud, it's not Sylvia. Because when I had Sylvia there, of course, we worked the whole day getting as much as we could. But then she has to go. She has other things she has to do. And so I had to do some stunt doubling on some of that. This particular video is more skin. Let's not, even though we want to go there, we can always go there later. Let's just go back here. This is the outfit. You may say, well, I like a different outfit. Okay, well, that's the one that we remember. That's the movie, the one that the things... that I started with. Those are like motorcycle pants. Those things are not cheap either. I think they were like $400 or $500, those pants, because they have pads in them. They have knee pads sewn in. If she falls down, she's fine. Let me read your comments here. At that time, I did it to kick my ass in the right way. Now I have all the content, but go every day to work for more. That's why I wish you messed around with me in the time I did it to kick my ass in the right way. Now I have all the content, but go every day to work for more than 11 hours was better life for me, being my own boss and creating stuff by myself. Yeah, I know what you're saying there. I bet one day you'll get mainstream enough to get Yes, I have. Look, um, it's not. Hold on one second. I'll tell you something. We'll talk about statues in a minute. Enough with the outfits. Some of the favorite photos are those girls in this. Yes. Um, there's a couple of things here we're talking about. We're talking about statues. Frank is talking about statues, and CreateX is talking about he did his own project, and now he had to go back to working for other people because of the laws in there. I know what you mean. Like I have some. I could tell you some disappointments. For example, Playboy. I mean, it's not happy to see Hugh Hefner die for me. I started off being kind of like, not anti-Playboy, but kind of opposite, girls with guns, not girls in fireplaces or pools. I did start with pools, though. And then we ended up becoming really good friends. They bought all my movies. They treated me very well, put me in the magazine several times, made me a killing of money being in there at the time. And then, Hugh Hefner died. I mean, his final years, it was not fun because, he was a very active guy before that, and he was into art, and Actiongirls it helped that company a lot. I remember when I first got on the DVDs, they were so good to me. They treated me so damn good. It's unbelievable. They invite me down to the building. I would give me the whole thing. I meet all the workers. I meet the lawyer. I hung out with the lawyer all the time there. I did so many mansion parties there. I can't tell you how much I've done with Playboy and how much we've worked together. But now that Hugh's not around in those final years, he's old. And, it just sucked. It just sucked to see that. And then they lost their cable TV at that time. Even though they're still going good today, they still kept the magazine going, even if I don't know if they make any money on it. But they have Investors, and Scarlett was even in Playboy. I just found out the 2017 one. I haven't looked at the magazine itself in so long because I just went and looked at magazines. It's interesting to see where magazines are. I'm glad that magazines are. I think they should keep doing them. I think there's a whole thing I could talk about on magazines in another video. It's so important. I can't even tell you, because I'm grateful for magazines, because when Sylvia and Veronica, when I shot Sylvia and Veronica, they had already built up their names so well. And part of that was magazines, because magazines were at every street corner, like not every street corner, but every couple of blocks in the cities, you've got a magazine rack. And so you're seeing Veronica everywhere you go. Every guy in the world is seeing her. Every airport. Losing the magazines. Losing that tangible where you see it in real, like not just on the internet, on your phone, you're seeing it. That's so cool, And it's just so, and then I got those girls, and then and then we're doing these movies. And they're acting, and the star power, the magazines have a way of, building that star power. I like to build the star power, the celebrity, because we need the icon. We ride on that. We want these, once you build a character, people like that girl as the character, boom, we're all set, Yeah, American Curves. Yeah, I just went, that's sad. Yeah, that is sad, because American Curves was a magazine that gave hope to photographers on Instagram. I mean, a guy could have 300,000 followers right now. Still cool to have a magazine. Still cool to be in a magazine like American Curves. And I remember a lot of the guys I was licensing content from for a while on my recruit section were published in that magazine. And that, that kind of thing makes them just gives light to their work. It's something that, it's important for photographers to be published. It sounds good. Girls want credits. I shot for this, I shot for this, I shot for this. Of course, now you can say, I did OnlyFans. I've, that can't be the only credential. I don't think that's why we can't remember names. They think we do. Oh, we get 1 million follows. But I can tell you, I know lots of girls that have millions of follows that I have top listings on YouTube that get no searches. How can you have millions of followers